From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate. The heat is on in British Columbia, where the province is currently experiencing a heat wave. It is roasting several regions, including the Sunshine Coast and Howe Sound. Environment Canada has issued a number of heat warnings, with some areas expected to see highs near 30 degrees Celsius through to Tuesday. Health Minister Adrian Dix is reminding locals that vulnerable people are at risk during such high-temperature events. Temperature records, meantime, are tumbling across the U.S. West as a slow-moving heat wave of potentially historic proportions tightens its grip from the Pacific Northwest down to Arizona. ABC's Jacqueline Lee is reporting from Los Angeles.
A historic heat wave searing the West, 158 million people under heat alerts.
Well, we want to make sure that they're staying indoors between the hours of 10 and 3, stay hydrated and rested.
Death Valley could clock a scalding 129 degrees, just 5 degrees shy of the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth.
And the worst may still be ahead, with temperatures expected to hit 18 to 16 degrees Celsius higher than average into next week. A 72-hour strike notice has been delivered to BC port operator DP World Canada. The BC Maritime Employers Association says unionized workers, represented by the International Longshore and Warehouse Union Local 514, served the notice despite the Canada Industrial Relations Board commencing hearings this week to address complaints between it and the union. Last month, the union announced that 99% of the nearly 600 longshore foremen voted against a final offer from the Employers Association. The Roman Catholic Church has been ordered to pay for a series of sizable settlements for nearly 300 survivors of historical abuse in Newfoundland and Labrador. Totaling $104 million, the financial penalty is linked to physical and sexual abuse reported from the 1940s through to the early 1960s at Mount Cashel Orphanage in St. John's. However, there are still some challenges to overcome. The Archdiocese of St. John's says it's only raised about $45 million for the settlements. And finally, to the top of the world, where Mount Everest's highest camp is littered with frozen garbage, and cleanup is likely to take years.
In their quest to scale Mount Everest every year, climbers from around the world don't just bring themselves, they bring their stuff, and then they leave it behind. Now there's so much garbage at Mount Everest's highest base camp near the peak that Sherpas say it'll take years to clean up. A team of them has been working to clear the trash on the world's tallest mountain. 11 tons worth removed this year's climbing season, including 4 dead bodies and a skeleton frozen in ice. It's estimated there could be up to 50 tons more garbage up there. Dave Packer, ABC News.
This is the Canadian Press. In sports, some are calling it the biggest win in the history of the Canadian men's soccer program. Ismael Kone scored the winner to give Canada a 4-3 edge in penalties and a berth in the semifinal at the Copa America. The teams were tied 1-1 before going to kicks. Canada will next play Lionel Messi and Argentina on Tuesday. Meanwhile, in CFL action, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers finally have their first victory of the season. The Bombers toppling the Ottawa Red Blacks 25-16, improving to 1-4 now. The Red Blacks have fallen to 2-2. And over to Major League Baseball, where the Toronto Blue Jays have kicked off a weekend series in Seattle with a 2-1 loss to the Mariners. Pitcher Kevin Gausman had 10 strikeouts over 6 innings, but it was Toronto's bats who went quiet, managing only 2 hits on the night. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.